had to care about you, to check on you after your mom died. One of the most unsettling realities many grieving people eventually discover has nothing to do with death itself. It has everything to do with the living. No one prepares you for the silence that follows the funeral. The casseroles stop coming, the phone stops ringing, the sympathy cards stop arriving, and somewhere around the time the last shovel of dirt hits the casket, many of the people who stood shoulder to shoulder promising, "If you need anything, call me," quietly disappear. This isn't true for everyone, but it was true for me. My mother had an incredible gift for loving people. Throughout her life, she collected friends the way some people collect heirlooms. She was someone's sister, someone's best friend, someone's confidant, someone's chosen family. People adored her, or at least that's what it looked like. Because she was my mother, I knew almost all of them. I knew the stories. I knew who had stood beside her during difficult seasons. I knew who she celebrated. I even knew who she could never fully relax around despite remaining friends. And then there were the ones I believed were untouchable. The ride or dies. The women I was certain would become part of my own support system after she was gone. After all, they loved my mother. Surely they would help me carry the unbearable weight of losing her. They were the first ones to disappear. That realization broke my heart almost as much as losing my mother, because I wasn't just grieving her. I was grieving every conversation I thought we'd still have. I was grieving every memory I thought we'd revisit together. I was grieving the people who knew my mother before I existed, during my childhood through adulthood. I thought they would help keep her alive by telling stories only they knew. Instead, silence. For years, I couldn't understand it. I replayed conversations. I wondered if I had done something wrong. I wondered if they assumed I didn't need them. I wondered if grief simply made people uncomfortable. Some of that may have been true. But eventually, I arrived at a conclusion that was painful, because it was so simple. They couldn't continue showing up for me because they never had a relationship with me. They had one with my mother. That is not the same thing. It took me years to understand something I wish someone had told me sooner. Just because someone loves your mother doesn't automatically mean they love what she loved. Parents often assume the people closest to them will naturally wrap their arms around their children if something happens. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Loving someone and loving the people they love are two entirely different decisions. One is affection. The other is investment. Looking back now, I can see that many people weren't abandoning me. They simply returned to their own lives after honoring my mother's death. I was the one whose life had exploded. They visited the tragedy. I had to live in it. There was one exception, one woman who genuinely loved my mother, but she also genuinely loved me. I never had to question it because love doesn't announce itself. It demonstrates itself. She checked on me. She remembered me. She spoke my mother's name. She made room for my grief long after everyone else had returned to normal life. Her actions became the measuring stick for what authentic love looks like. She remained that person until her own untimely death 6 years later. She proved something I have never forgotten. People who truly care about you don't disappear simply because the funeral is over. They understand that grief doesn't end when everyone else goes home. It is only beginning. One of the hardest lessons grief ever taught me was this: stop confusing proximity to the person you lost with love for you. Those are not the same thing. It hurt to accept, but it also set me free. Because once I stopped waiting for people to become who they had never been, I stopped being disappointed by their absence. I built a life anyway. I healed anyway. I became anyway. And as the years passed, I made another decision that some people may not understand. I closed the door, not out of bitterness, out of wisdom, because access is earned. If you were nowhere to be found when my world collapsed, you don't automatically receive an invitation once I've rebuilt it. Healing taught me that boundaries are not punishment. They are protection. So if our paths cross today, don't mistake my peace for permission. Some doors are meant to remain closed. Not because I hate you, but because I finally learned who walked with me when I couldn't walk alone. If you weren't there for my breaking, you don't get to bear witness to my becoming. Kenyatta,